Meow, meow. Hi, this is Damien for MD Gear. So I think I finally figured out a solution on how to power and have an external microphone for my Hero 4 Black while I'm metal detecting. So it's been quite a challenge to try to figure out how to film metal detecting. I have been looking at the way other people do it, and some great guys like Pong Guru get out there with a camera on a tripod, but I just did not want to do that. It's been one extra thing to worry about. I've often got my detector in my right hand, my left hand I've got my digging shovel or my lesh and my towel and my pinpointer. If I'm digging a lot of holes, I don't put all that back on me. I've got it all in my hand so I can and I just didn't want to deal with having to position a camera on a tripod. And Hoover Boys, God love Kurt, he's an awesome guy, and the way he films with his, he has a Galaxy or something like that, cell phone, which is mostly waterproof. I have an iPhone, and I can't really add external storage to it. I did get a 64 gig iPhone, so I got a decent amount of video space on it. So I tried getting this. The Body Glove makes a awesome little case for the iPhone, which you can waterproof your phone, and you can add on lenses, telephoto, macro, wide angle, or just regular. As a way to seal in your phone. The biggest challenge is keeping the mud off everything. Mud gets on everything, in everything when you're metal detecting. This Optrix system is a bit expensive. I got this used, however, a couple of scuffs on it, no big deal. I will try in the future maybe to continue to try to film on this thing. So I got that if I wanted to film on my iPhone. So I really like the hat mounted GoPro solution. It just seems the better way to go to get it up into my hat and out of my hands, and I don't have to deal with it. The other problem is GoPro's meant to hold a charge and to film while you're jumping off a mountain for 2 minutes while you're leaping off a building and such. So the battery power sucks, the microphone sucks. They just weren't meant to be a video camera, you know what I mean? They were meant to capture in a waterproof case as you jumped off of something that you put cool music to. You weren't meant to hear the microphone necessarily. The wind rushing was a cool thing when you're jumping off a mountain, but the wind rushing when you're filming metal detecting is a pain in the ass. I hate watching video with blowing wind on the microphone. So everybody out there on YouTube, please try to cover your mic in dead cat like this. Anyway, so I started out with modifying actually my waterproof case. I drilled a hole into the side of it to have access so that everything else would be mud and muck proof, and I only wanted access to my USB because that's the only thing I need to plug into. This is kind of heavy. The GoPro frame is what I tried next. So I have the GoPro frame. I do have a battery backpack in there because I want to plug in a microphone, as I have, with a dead kitten over it to cut down all wind noise, and I wanted to power externally. You can't do that because there's only one USB jack on the side of the GoPro. Then I got this, which is GoPro's official splitter. And what I've done is I've cut off RGA plugs because I'll never use those. But the problem is this is so thick and rigid, you end up with this really thick and rigid, stiff cable sticking way out of your side of your hat before it's able to be pulled back. And I just felt like it's a lot of pressure and stress on the side of my GoPro. I don't know why they're making everything micro these days. Micro HDMI, micro USB, micro SD. Stop it already, because these little tiny plugs just don't hold up very well. So a lot of pressure and stress on the side of my USB port I felt was really going to damage my GoPro. Okay, so I like the frame. It's pretty cool. The frame does have that little metal latch that you can pull back here to hold the back of your battery backpack, but I don't think it was needed. This is pretty solid. It's not going to come off. Right, so how do you power your GoPro for extended periods of time, and by extended I mean like 6 hours. I want to go out and metal detect for 6 straight hours. I did buy the wrist remote for the GoPro just to start my video only when I find something good and talk to you guys for a little bit and then stop the video to try to save battery power over a period of time. Unfortunately, having to turn on Wi-Fi and have this connect via Wi-Fi drains the battery like anything. I got these Novo beams. These are great little USB chargers, and they're nice and small, and they're actually waterproof, so if you cap that down, this is completely waterproof. I could drop this in water. So I bought 2 of these. With them came these great little bags to keep them in. Now these great little bags I then sewed onto my hat. So I've got one in the front and one in the back. At one point I had them sewed on the sides, but whoops, I switched from the WS4 headphones to the WS5 headphones. So you want to have your sides of your hat clear of any objects so your headphone can go over top of your hat. At one point then, before I was using the giant splitter, I was using my GoPro with powered to the Novo beam, which at the moment I've got one of them tucked in the back here, the Novo beam. I've got a second one back here. I also had a little digital recorder that I was recording the microphone straight into. So I was recording double sound basically and having to sync it up in post. I do have pluralize, never always works perfectly. I end up just kind of manually doing it sometimes, even though I do have pluralize. So I didn't want to do that, so I wanted to kill that having to carry yet another electronic device, and all of that was making my hat rather heavy and not fitting correctly on my head. So stopped using these splitters, and I had a great idea. Why don't I just try putting the microphone into the USB on the GoPro and then running the Novo beam power, external power, into the USB on the external. So I'm using both USBs then, and that's why I'm using an external pack. If I wasn't using the backpack, I would only have the single USB going into the GoPro. The lav I have here is a EDUTIGE, I'm not going to pronounce this right, EDUTIGE, whatever. I love this lav because it's got great pickup and it doesn't need power. I have a lav that requires the little watch batteries in it. Regular testers don't work on those little watch batteries, and I never know how much battery power I've got left in one of those before I go out into the field. So I love the little EDUTIGE lav because it just plugs right into the GoPro via the GoPro adapter, which is right here. I've tried one of those eBay or cheap Amazon lav that plug directly into the GoPro, and the sound on them is horrendous. So I really recommend the EDUTIGE mic. And then on the end of this, it did not come with this little dead kitten here. Meow, meow. This is actually the Rode. I believe it's this one's the one made by Rode that you can buy separately. I've got that clipped right to the brim of my hat. Got the GoPro Hero 4 with the lens protector on, the battery backpack by GoPro, and I'm running straight out of the USB of the GoPro into the microphone. So I'm using one of these Novo beam pouches for all the excess mic cable that I've just kind of tucked into there. And I've put the Novo beam in the back. And these little Novo beam pouches have these great little fasteners. So all the way back here, as you can see, there's the Novo beams back in there powering. And I can tuck all that in there, including that cap, and then I can use this little fastener to kind of tighten everything down in there so nothing's coming out, so it's nice and secure. And ladies and gentlemen, the nerdiest guy you know. Now they do make clips for the GoPro that clip on the front. I actually got the 1/4-20 drill and went up in there with a 1/4-20 bolt to the GoPro mount so that the clip would never come off on me. I've got my Hero 4 Black, which has got a awesome EDUTIGE mic plugged into it with a dead cat to completely block wind noise. The excess mic cable is sitting in here, and then the other Novo beam pouch is on the back with the Novo beam in the back powering the GoPro for hours and hours and hours and hours. Now, all that filming, not filming in 4K, I'm filming in 1080/30. All that is going to require a pretty big micro SD card, and I've just ordered the Lexar 1000X 128 gigabyte card to go in there. Maybe I'll use this again. Maybe I won't film 6 hours of hunting and straight. You know, it's just convenient. It's always running. I go back and I snip out what I don't want. I don't have to worry about starting and stopping it. It's awesome. Now that I've got all this power, and I even can bring, if I really hunt a really long day, like 7 in the morning to really late at night, I can charge up a second one of those and plug that in. Now that I've got all this power, I might try using the remote again with the Wi-Fi to maybe cut down all the recording data and just turn this on when I got a great signal. So this feels nice and comfortable. I could hunt all day with this. I know I look like a extreme dork. Honestly, this is the best solution I've found for having external power plus a external good quality microphone on my GoPro Hero 4. I'll do a couple tests of exactly how long. I've got this wacky alarm clock here that I'm gonna aim at and film with all of this set up, and then maybe also with the Wi-Fi running too. I did run out of power on this thing too though. Last time I took this out into the field for a hunt, this ran out of power. So nothing about GoPro is meant to be powered for a period of time. It's really frustrating. So that's the reason why I just want to turn it on, have it film all day on a nice big 128 gigabyte card, and cut it up in post. This has been Damien for MD Gear. As always, thanks for watching.